President Gray, fellow trustees, faculty and staff, and most of all, the wonderful women of this graduating class, thank you so much for letting me be part of your extraordinary day. What an honor to address you as you venture from Hollins into the world. I must say it's also really a surprise for me to be standing here on this stage as I celebrate my 25th reunion as a Hollins graduate. I think the only two people who would have thought that this was remotely conceivable were my father, who's here today, and always insisted I was the smartest person in the first grade. That'll take you far, by the way. And my freshman Hollins advisor, the wonderful Rebecca Ferry, who told me that I could do anything. I've had the chance to get to know some of you, and it's clear that you are a group of interesting, courageous, talented, and wonderful young women. You hail from as far away as Nepal, Russia, and California, and as near as our beloved Commonwealth of Virginia, which will always be your Hollins home. You've majored in fields from English to economics, chemistry to classical studies, music to mathematics, business to biology, philosophy to French. 80 of you have spent at least one term abroad, from Greece to Paris to London to Argentina and Japan, becoming bilingual and even trilingual and fluent in the language of global scholarship and citizenship. And all of you have left your mark on this wonderful campus, not just painted on the rock, but in the relationships you've forged and the community you've created. I know this has been a really challenging time to be a college student. Our country is just working its way out of one of the toughest economic downturns in our history. And to earn your Hollins degree, you've received support from your parents, you've earned scholarships, you've worked part-time, and some of you have even worked full-time. There are even a few of you who sped up your college coursework so you could graduate in 3 years. And one Horizon student held down a full-time job alongside her full-time studies so she could build a life, better life, for herself and her 7 children. And through it all, you have developed an extraordinary bond, a spirit of common cause and great respect for one another, which I've seen personally and heard from President Gray and other members of the faculty and administration. You are indeed a remarkable class. Now, there's a saying here in the South: when you see a turtle on a fence post, it didn't get there by itself. Now, let me be clear, I'm not comparing you to a bunch of turtles. Hollins women don't hide in their shells, but I want to say a word to your parents. Today would not have been possible without you, and I applaud you all. I'll always be grateful that Hollins saw my potential and selected me as a member of the class of 1986. And that at 17, I had the good sense to jump at the invitation, or at least as high as we could jump back then, wearing the Lands nightgowns and tree torns we wore to class. So much of what makes Hollins special today was just as real a quarter of a century ago. I love this school, which is why I am so honored to serve as a trustee, following my hero, the talented and trailblazing Wyndham Robertson, and other dedicated members of the Hollins board. And I'm always so inspired when I meet students like you. Earlier this spring, I met with a group of you in the Rat. You told me about your endeavors and impressive range of interests, Everything from working for the Texas Rangers to interning in the private bank at UBS to sea turtle conservation, which, by the way, has nothing to do with putting turtles on fence posts. Actually, it might, though. And a number of you asked me how I came to be in my professional role. Did I always know what I was passionate about? Did I have it all planned out? Did I know that I could manage to have both a family and a career? The honest answer is no. When I graduated, my only plan was a one-way ticket to New York City, or to be more accurate, a 12-hour car ride in my trusty Chevy Citation with my best friend from Hollins, Holly Goodsell, and all my worldly belongings. I didn't have a job. I thought I wanted to work on the editorial side of a magazine because of all the terrific publishing internships I had during my time at Hollins. In Berkeley, California, in Paris, and in New York. But for better or for worse, I was a terrible typist, which made it tough to break in. Eventually, I did get a job offer from Working Woman magazine, where I had spent my J-term senior year. But at $12,000 a year, even in 1986, it wasn't enough for this working woman to live on, unless I committed to never shopping again, and maybe not even then. So I kept looking. And as I did, I had to admit some hard truths. I'm a strong writer, but I'm no Annie Dillard or Lee Smith. But what I did have was a passion for hard work, dialogue and connection, and communication, something that my friends and family and phone bill can still attest to decades later. So I widened my search. I looked into sectors and at jobs that I had never before considered. And I got my big break, though it didn't resemble anything I had ever imagined. I was hired by Citibank to help the portfolio managers make their investment presentations, which basically meant assembling the briefing books. I copied, and I made copies of copies. The Xerox machine and I were like this. And with all that toner, no matter what I wore to work, I always came home in a little black dress. But while I was at Citi, I read those presentations, even though at first I didn't understand a single word. I learned a great deal, and I built some very strong professional relationships. I began to be viewed as the person my bosses could count on to get things done, because whatever the task, big or small, I'd step forward and enthusiastically just help do it, even if it wasn't my department, or if it was someone else's project, or if it was just a colleague in a pickle. And because I showed I had value to add, I earned more responsibility, rising over the years from the copy room to vice president of corporate communications, and from there to more senior leadership positions at JP Morgan and Bank of America. It might seem surprising, given that I was an English and French major with a minor in art history who never studied finance or economics, that I spent 20 years in financial services. But that's not the point. The key reason I kept getting promoted was because I worked really hard and could communicate clearly, be the devil's advocate, ask the difficult questions, and relate to other people's point of view. Skills I'd been able to cultivate on this campus every day. Hollins did not teach me English or French or art history. It taught me how to think about those subjects, and many other subjects as well. And more importantly, it taught me how to share my thinking and ideas so that I could really hear the thoughts and ideas of others. After my time in financial services, I was given a wonderful opportunity to become a senior executive at the Estee Lauder companies, which originated from Penny Zuckerwise, my very first boss and mentor at Citibank. She believed that I would bring to the job confidence to learn a new business, handle something more challenging, and help an iconic company founded by a great woman be even more successful. And even though I was scared of undertaking something so totally new and perhaps failing at it, I gathered my courage and I took the leap. So even though I didn't have a plan when I left Hollins, Hollins had given me the tools to succeed and the confidence to reach high, even when I was terrified. And I hope that's reassuring to all of you, including the moms and dads who are hoping that your daughter will soon be self-supporting. Because I know this moment of graduation might seem as stressful as it is exhilarating. On one hand, there are the practical concerns of, how do I get a job? What if I don't get a decent job? And worst of all, what if the skeptics are right and no one ever gets a job with a double major in business and studio art? But more than that are the private concerns I've heard many of you express about how hard it is to leave this incredibly caring, safe, supportive place and make your way into a world that can feel at times very tough and impersonal, where you don't have your 3 best friends down the hall, or professors to turn to for help, or advisors who take a genuine interest in you and are there to catch you when you fall. So here's where I get to lord my 25 years of life experience over you. Try to quiet those inner voices that are asking all those questions. I'm here to tell you, you will be fine. More than that, you will be great. I know this because each of you already has everything you need. Now, that doesn't mean your yellow brick road will unfold into a smooth, straight line, and that you won't hit some really tough, rough patches. Opportunities don't always present themselves in the sequence or at the moment you expect, but each of you will define your own path to happiness and success, and that definition will evolve over time as you evolve and grow over time. Think back to the first day you stepped on this campus as a freshman, a transfer student, a Horizon student making your way back to school, or a graduate student pursuing your educational dreams. If you were anything like me, you might have felt a little scared about what lay in store. Scared that you wouldn't make good friends, or couldn't manage on your own, or wouldn't be able to handle the work. But look at you now. This university chose you because it saw your shining potential, not just as intelligent women, diligent students, but as compassionate friends, creative thinkers, and caring citizens of the world. Hollins has helped you become the amazing women you're meant to be by helping you access the power and strength that you've carried within yourselves all along. And you're right about being wistful about saying goodbye. The world out there is nothing like Hollins. So, when you leave this exceptional place, you will just have to take Hollins with you. Just because you're no longer down the hall from your friends doesn't mean that you can't be there for one another, the way my sophomore year roommate, Tessa Gregory Stanchevich, is here for me today, to support and cheer and comfort each other in times of joy and sorrow. Just because you're no longer at a desk in a classroom doesn't mean you can't keep learning and contributing to the conversations that enrich our hearts and minds. And just because you're no longer a student at Hollins doesn't mean you no longer belong. To the contrary, you are now members of the wider Hollins community, including alumni, board member, faculty, and staff, who are always eager to lend you a hand. But being part of this incredible community brings with it an important obligation. You have the responsibility to pay the gift of Hollins forward. This school's success is a tribute to the power of women helping women. Each of us has been lifted by the women who came before us, and we have a responsibility to help other women climb high as well. These are incredibly exciting times for women, professionally, politically, socially. From Hillary Clinton to Condoleezza Rice, Indira Nooyi to Sonia Sotomayor, women are taking leadership positions in every field of endeavor. Today, younger women are more likely than men to have college and graduate degrees. And the number of women in the workforce is almost equal to that of men. And we'd think that is really good news. But equal participation in the workforce has not guaranteed our equal treatment. At every level of education, women's incomes are still only 75 to 80% those of men. And I was stunned, actually outraged, when I read recently on executive compensation in the New York Times. Of the 50 highest paid executives in the United States, only 2 were women, and one of them has just retired. So while glass ceilings may not be visible, they clearly still exist, and it's up to us to keep lifting one another, looking out for one another, speaking up for one another until the ceilings break and all women can soar as high as their talents will take them, whether it be in the workplace, in their family life, or in their creative pursuits, or in all three, which is why single-sex education and an institution like Hollins is so very special. And I know you can do it, and I can hardly wait for you to begin. So let me end with a sentiment expressed by one of your classmates this spring. When I asked the group how Hollins had changed them, she said, "I started Hollins as a square. I'm leaving as a circle." A circle, by the way, who will be soon working for the IMF. This extraordinary young woman speaks for all of us, meaning that her time here helped her become a more well-rounded, open person. But a circle also represents the way an ending can be a beginning. And it represents the unbelievable connection that we as Hollins women share as part of the widening circle of alumni from so many different backgrounds, hands linked together in sisterhood and solidarity with one another to dream the boldest dreams we can and help each other's dreams come true. May the rest of your lives be as beautiful and amazing as each of you is today. And may Hollins always mean as much to you as you have meant to Hollins. Thank you.
Over the course of a 25-year career in global communications, you have proven yourself to be the epitome of a Hollins woman. You personify grace, professionalism, hard work, integrity, and generosity. And these core values have in turn set the foundation for your invaluable contribution to 2 of the world's best-known and most successful organizations. At Bank of America, you played a crucial role in enhancing the company's brand, image, and reputation in this country and abroad. Today, the Estee Lauder Companies is fortunate to have you overseeing communications for more than 25 global brands and offering wise counsel to senior corporate executives, brand presidents, and others throughout the organization on a wide variety of communication and business issues. At the same time, you share your considerable talents to celebrate and improve the lives of women everywhere. Your active responsibility as a member of the Hollins Board of Trustees ensures the university and her students will flourish today and in the years to come. Your passion for the Estee Lauder Company's Global Breast Cancer Awareness campaign has played a vital role in delivering crucial information about breast health and the importance of early detection to women worldwide. By this fall, approximately $50 million in contributions to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation will have been raised by the Estee Lauder Company's brands and employees, an accomplishment in which you can take the most pride. And for more than a decade, you have been a dedicated champion of International Women's Media Foundation and the organization's Courage in Journalism Awards, which honors the courage of women the world over who report the news under difficult and dangerous circumstances. Last year, you were named one of the co-chairs of the IWMF's 20th Anniversary Steering Committee, which focuses on bringing the organization's work to a bigger audience and attracting more supporters to this network. Though the demands on your time and expertise are great, you remain steadfast in your devotion to your husband, John, and your daughter, Grace. Your commitment to maintaining a balance between career and family is something all of us can strive to emulate. Today, Alexandra Trower Lindsay, in recognition of your achievements, the Hollins University is privileged to bestow upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Alex, don't go away.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes, oh my goodness.
There's more.
All right.
I was actually very jealous when I saw Claudia Belk had this on and wanted one too, but I wasn't sure how she got it. Thank you.